Hi everyone, so this is the second part of our videos on resumes and building your online brand. So in the first video, I showed you this resume pretty quickly, and you'll notice that there are a lot of things marked on here that you wanna look at. A lot of it's about formatting, but some of it is about wording. Some of it is good. Some of this is, more of a concern. So this is a resume that you can tear apart and see what you like and don't like about it. But let me give you a little more guidance before you do. So to review elements of a good resume, they should be easy to read, they're not crowded, don't have typos. They need to be organized and they should have education first. The previous resume does not. It buries it at the bottom, but you've spent an awful lot of time trying to earn this degree. Take, credit for the work you've done. Make sure that you are listing things in reverse order, the most recent first, going back in time. Make sure that each of your experiences is using the PAR and STAR idea that show what you've accomplished, both in class and outside of class, and use the language of the field. Right? You want to show that you know it. Okay, some other general guidelines in terms of formatting. I'm not going to read them all to you. You can always pause and look at these. But you want to make sure the resume is easy to read. It doesn't have any images or formatting that would have a problem if it runs through an automated system. Right? And make sure that you're constantly aware of that you're showing what you have to bring to whatever experiences or job that you're applying for. Okay? Some more things. Going back to the education, once you're past freshman year, don't put your high school education on it. You don't need it. Now, if in your first year of college, you don't have a lot of other experiences and you're looking for internships or, to community groups, you may want to have it. But after the first year, you probably don't want to be talking about high school. And if you still have, or you're finding that you don't have a lot to talk about, you want to start building experiences here in college. Okay? In terms of experience and accomplishments, always talk about the most recent first. Align it with needs of jobs. I was talking with a nursing major who happens to work in a spa, and she said, I don't have any of the skills I need. I said, really? What do you do? Tell me what you're taking from this job into your nursing career. And she goes, oh, well, I know how to listen to people. I know how to get them to talk to me about their needs. And I said, that's communication. That's a major asset. And we were able to rewrite her PAR and STAR statements to emphasize that empathy that she has developed and her listening skills. Okay? If you have specialized skills that are general, put them at the bottom. If you have technical skills related to your field, put them at the top of the resume. Just because things at the top of the resume are the first ones that someone screening for an internship or job are going to notice. Okay? And remember, you should always review this. Now, objectives for resumes. So there's lots of schools of thoughts about this. The objective or summary at the top. Definitely, I am not a proponent of objectives on resumes, especially in your undergrad years. And the reason there is we all know what it is. You want to gain experience, right? You want the job. You want the position, okay? So you really need to think if these lines are going to help you or not, okay? Here are some examples. If you decide that you want to have an objective or a summary, you're going to take a look at these, come back to them, review them, read them. And this is kind of a fill in the blank. This is something you want to mark and use over and over again because you're going to need to tailor your resume to the job that you're looking at, right? Or the internship or the opportunity. Okay? So make sure that you're looking at this before you write an objective or summary for your resume or even for your LinkedIn profile. So let's talk briefly again about writing STAR bullets. You've worked with these ideas before, but now I really want you to focus in on bullet points. I know that a lot of times when we complete this as a class exercise, you feel like writing more is better. You've spent a lot of years in school. More is usually better, but not when it comes to resumes. I've been working for over 20 years. If I'm going to apply for a job, I'm supposed to have a 2-page resume. Now, my academic CV, which is like my entire academic career, that's like 11 or 12 pages, very carefully formatted. However, a resume to go into industry, 2 pages is all they're going to listen to. And for someone who's in college or just graduating and in their first 5 to 10 years out of college, 1 page suffices. So we've got to be real careful and intentional when we write these bullets. So here are some things that recruiters hate about our resumes. Okay? They really hate when our email addresses look like they were written by high school people. They really don't like when we're overly creative with fonts or when we have too much text. They don't like formatting that's all over the place. They don't like when we tell them about responsibilities without accomplishments. They don't like when we're inconsistent, and they do not like buzzwords and meaningless cliches. So, you're a hardworking team player with exceptional problem skills. Well, come on. What does that actually mean? Break it down and show me. Hey, too many people use them. They want to get to know you, and you only have 1 page to show them who you are, that authentic self that you are. Okay? So those star bullets are review. They start with an action word and then a task. It briefly mentions the situation and then shows the results. Okay? So actions, okay? Things that are not good, right? Responsible for, worked with, handled, learned to, assist. Okay? But lead, managed, analyzed, partnered, coordinated, processed, drove. More effective words are ones that actually include the action. Okay? In the problem or situation or task, you want to describe it. You want to talk about why you took action. Show the purpose that you understood, the idea that you understood the purpose. And you really are trying to show that you understand their organization. You know the work that they do, and your role. You're using your past experiences to show them, your new hopeful employer, that you get it. You've gotten the big picture and you're going to fit with them. Okay? So you also can use these results to showcase how well or how much you did. Conducted 5 interviews with alumni. Served over 50 customers a day. You don't always have numbers, and that's okay. But when you do, use them because they catch somebody's eye. And be aware that lying doesn't work. If I was a college advisor at one point, I had 100 students that I had to advise in a semester on an ongoing basis. It was not my only job, and it was part of my faculty job. If I put advised 1,000 students, people would have laughed at me. Okay? So you want to make sure you're realistic and that it's honest. Okay? And when you have numbers, that's great. But you know what? If you don't, that's okay too. You can always put the product or the outcome. I worked on this research project with this group at Rutgers, which led to an improvement in water quality. It's better if you can give a quantity, but sometimes you can't, and that's okay. So here's some examples. Okay? Assisted middle school students by creating lesson plans and regulated their performance, allowing 3 students to receive honors in their mathematics grades. Okay? Programmed 150 unique events within the school year, which included duties such as the oversight of 250 general members and collaboration of 40 council peers. These are very specific. Right? Created the Optimal program for an annual conference with over 500 attendees for one of the largest organizations at Rutgers University. Okay? You'll notice that these examples, which come from real student resumes, right? These are very convincing. Okay? And notice that this starts with convinced, created, assisted, used, increased, programmed. There's an action in there that is implied. And it's in the past, showing that I already did this. So it is real. Okay? So talking about here's some more, talking about some more with results in it, right? Notice that we're highlighting the results in this one. Planned and executed daily schedules involving hiking routes, water sources, and camping locations was able to account for many mishaps like students refusing to hike or inclement weather. Right? Leadership managed multiple events which ultimately contributed to the improvement of the public health of the local community. There's no number there, but that is still a real result. Listened to and kept record of employee complaints, guiding them to the right resources and people to address their concern. As you read through these, maybe you even pause it, look at your own resume, look at your own part and star statements that we worked on and say, how do I shorten them down? Because you want to have this as short as you can. Right? It really shouldn't go past 2 lines unless you spent a long, long time in the role. Okay? So here is some accomplishment language. If you're sitting here and you're not really sure what you could include, I want you to pause and I want you to go down this list and I want you to answer these yes or no. And if it's yes, well, then I want you to jot down what you did. No, how can you do some of these things? Right? For instance, what workshops, trainings have you attended or taken? If you say none, well, a real quick message to me, we could meet, and I bet you we could find you some things that you want to complete. So I'd like you to pause here and think about it. So hopefully you did. Hopefully you paused on that last screen and made a list of things that you've done. So here are some steps to staying unemployed. These are the mistakes that people make that keep them from getting the positions and experiences they want. I am not going to read these to you, okay? You can read them, okay? But I do want to talk about LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is a huge part of networking, okay? At this point, companies are using LinkedIn to look at you before they even, contact you. It's part of the screening process. LinkedIn is very, very popular. Okay? And you want to use LinkedIn and have a personal brand on your LinkedIn profile. It's going to help you in so many ways. Okay? Now, some things that employers do not like about your online presence, they don't like when you have no presence. They definitely don't want drunk pictures, too many selfies. They don't want it to be all fun all the time. And this is all your social networking. So be aware it may well be visible to employers. They don't really want you to be too political. They don't want you to curse, be too negative, or too personal. And they do want to see that your spelling and grammar is good. They want you to, they want you to be a real person. But as you can tell, there's definitely some some edges or borders to what they want to know. But what does make a good impression online is having a LinkedIn with a professional photo without mistakes that tells your story and what you've done and where you've done it. They want you to show your personality, but just a little. Okay? So as you build your professional brand online, you want to make sure that you're controlling what private social media is available out there. You want to be aware that nothing is ever truly private when it gets to the internet. You want to be very professional. You want to have your professional social profiles. Okay? And you want to have content that reflects your professional interests and strengths. So for instance, if you go to Twitter, you're going to see that it's really just things that I want to read, that I have come across that are worth reading. And in fact, I have to add a new one today that I found. Okay? Make sure that you're fixing your LinkedIn headline. You want this to tell who you are. You don't want to be really over the top and dramatic. You will find those people on LinkedIn as well. But most people have found that, good, strong, but not overly creative headlines are best. Okay? Headlines for students should have your name, but underneath it, your school year, your personality strengths, and career interests. And here's some examples. Okay? You should have a summary. And this goes back to that elevator pitch. Analytical and compassionate honor student looking to blend my blank skills and interest in blank to pursue internships in the area of value-based healthcare. Well, this is going to come up if recruiters are searching. Okay, so if they're looking for someone for a value-based healthcare internship,